Hello all, and welcome to tonight's beer review. It is 9 o'clock on the dot, and I'm doing this beer review, which I am going to dub the... I'm not going to call it filler, but I want to go and keep my episode count up because I've been enjoying reviewing things, but of course I'm not rich enough to go and buy things I want to review, so I'm going to go and buy things I can afford and then sort of review them. Whether or not I like them is going to be questionable, since what is mostly available is either American adjunct lagers of some sort or IPAs. And without much further ado, we're going to go to a brewery that I actually really enjoy and I think does a good job with a lot of their beers, even if I don't like the particular style of the beer that they're doing. And this is Big Little Thing Imperial IPA. This is 9% ABV. It's a tall boy. It's sold individually and thus cheap for me to review. And yeah, it's pretty much, the epitome of what I'm trying to get away from in my beer tasting. But it is what is ubiquitous, really. So I got another one from Lagunitas that I'm going to be reviewing, another tall boy. Probably going to save that for next week. Like I said, I have usually 2 evenings of the week that I review. Well, 2 days out of the week that I review, evening, afternoon. Sometimes 3 or more if for special occasions, either holidays or I've gone out to like a bar and I'm going to do taster samples, or I'm at a party, etc., etc. But usually just 2. So I'm going to try to keep myself to reviewing 2 things a week, which is probably going to mean a lot of these things for at least 1 or 2 of those days of the week. But that's fine because, you know, at least with these things, which have wide national distribution for the most part, some of the audience here will at least know what this beer is and know what I'm talking about. And so without much further ado, let's go to this wonderful beer from Sierra Nevada. I say wonderful. I've never actually tasted this yet. This is going to be a blind tasting. But at this point, I think I'm kind of very well experienced in the world of tasting IPAs. So, a clear golden yellow, some hints of orange, with a foamy to frothy off-white head. Lots of tropical fruit in that nose there. Mango, passion fruit, sweet orange juice, and some sweet biscuity malts underneath it there, sort of lending towards that sweetness. Definitely very tropical on the nose as opposed to piney and dank. Let's go to the tasting. Very thick and oily mouthfeel. Finish is mildly boozy. Mild carbonation on the palate. While it tastes heavy, you'd have a hard time really placing the ABV on this. You'd know that you're drinking something heavy. But is it something that's 7.5 or is it something that's 9.5? It's a little bit difficult to kind of suss out. The only kind of give is a sort of booziness in the finish. Hop bitterness up front kind of continues through the mids and fades in the finish. This is not very bitter. Let's go and see when the can date on this was. Huh, 6/15/21, so actually fairly recent. I was expecting a little bit more hop bitterness from this. On the palate, it is neither really hoppy, that's tongue scorching hop bitterness, but it's also not really fruity. It's kind of just mildly, well, I wouldn't say mildly hoppy. I would say it's not as hoppy as I would like for the style, and kind of comes across as a little bit unbalanced just due to the weight and gravity of the alcohol in the malts here. Hmm. Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed by this. There's not much there. I mean, there's quite a bit of alcohol, and it's identifiably an Imperial IPA, but nothing's really standing out about this. Whatever is good is so muted as to be barely perceptible, as in the case of the hopping. Leaving some of the worst notes, i.e., the booziness, kind of much more apparent. Also, is kicking me like a mule to the head right now. Yeah, this is probably going to be the only beer I have tonight, that's for sure. Big tea after this, 100%. Tea, as in Earl Grey. No more beer, just Earl Grey after this tall boy. I kind of feel like craft has gotten to the point where all brewers, and I'm not going to blame them for this because everyone's kind of chasing the dollar and trying to stay afloat, especially in this COVID age, trying to remain relevant, trying to still have shelf space. And there's only so much shelf space at the supermarket. And yeah, for a great brewer like Sierra Nevada, you know, I see why this isn't a tall boy forum. I think there's a lot of people out there who say they like craft beer, but what they like really most of all is the 9.0 ABV and the fact that it doesn't taste like ass like most malt liquors do. One of these days I ought to go back. Back when I was in college, I would drink malt liquor quite often. Um, Quite shameful, I know. I should go back and see what malt liquor kind of tastes like to me now. That'd be a trip back down memory lane. in which I also take a side step off of memory lane to go and puke in the alley or something like that. Puking in the alley right off of memory lane. But I'm kind of rambling. This really feels like it's something that's put out by a craft brewer, so it's not awful. But it's sort of its primary purpose is to deliver alcohol in a way that is palatable, and it does that quite well. But it really doesn't add much interest to it. Again, your mileage may vary. I know maybe there's some of you out there who are pure connoisseurs of Imperial IPAs and will tell me, no, 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 this is a great Imperial IPA. To be honest, it's pretty rare that I go and look back through all my reviews. I think that there's maybe one or two Imperial IPAs that I was quite like, wow, you know. I just think most Imperial IPAs, a lot of the better, more interesting hop notes, they tend to get lost in the heavier malts and the boozier alcohol. And so, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe by the end of this series, I'm going to be like reviewing Budweiser Chiladas or something like that. God help me if I do. But, I'm going to try to keep that, making 2 reviews a week as my minimum. And yeah, that's your beer review for this evening, folks. Cheers.